everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today we're going to talk about whether or not everybody would have more if the population were less, the population were smaller. And I'm not going to name any names because I want the people of YouTube to be able to watch this video. And I'm going to watch my language, so hopefully it'll won't get censored off of YouTube, because this is a topic that gets my videos censored, and that raises alarm bells in my head telling me that that's something that needs to be talked about. It's something important that we need to know about, because they wouldn't silence you if what you were saying didn't matter, right? Didn't mean shit. Why go through the trouble? So there's something there. I don't know what it is. I'm not claiming to know, but this is the topic that gets me censored, so I'm going to talk about it. I'll just try to be more careful this time. So, if the population were smaller, and this is a fallacy, a misconception that younger people tend to fall for, that if there were less people on the planet, then the remaining people would have more. We'd have more, right? I'd have more stuff. I could get 2 iPhones because, hell, my neighbor's gone, so I can have theirs. That line of thought, right? But it's just completely illogical. It doesn't make any sense. Number one, there's enough resources on this planet to completely accommodate 10 times the population we have. There's no shortage of resources. By the time we get to where we are literally running out of resources, I think that we will be mining asteroids by then, and we'll be getting resources there. So that kind of the lack of resources argument doesn't hold weight anymore. We just know a lot more about our planet and how it works now and what's on it. But there are certain people, billionaires, who are claiming that it's best for the planet and for humanity if there were less people on it. If half of the population just went on to the next life, right? Now, the problem I have with that, even if let's say, for the sake of argument, that was right, that was true, okay? That's the best thing for the planet. We've got to do, it sounds horribly evil to me, but for the sake of argument, it's true. The problem I have with it is that it's the people that are pushing this, the elite 1% or whatever that are pushing this. It's not going to be half of them. They're not going to be part of that half. They're not going to be in that at all. Okay? They're not going to have to lose half of their children. They're not going to have to lose half of their family. They're not going to lose anyone. It's going to be us down here, the common people. All right? And we're not going to have more. We're going to have less. The billionaires and the elites will just, the population will just be easier to control. A smaller population is easier to control. You only need so many, when you have such a small number of people on top, you only need so many people to build a yacht. You only need so many people to fly airplanes for those few elites, right? If the rest of us who are remaining aren't allowed to fly airplanes anymore, then, to not pilot them, fly in them, then you only need a few airplanes for the elites to jet set around in. You only need a few airplane manufacturers. You only need a few pilots. The population. So that idea of reducing the population and having more is it's completely backwards. You're going to have much less freedom, less resources, less conveniences, less of everything. The only thing you're going to have more of is work. And that's just That's and that's just common sense. When you look at it, people tend to project their feelings and their beliefs onto others. Okay, because I'm a common person. I go to work every day. I pay my bills, and I deal with the everyday things in life to get by. I tend to project that onto these billionaire celebrities. Like, they think the way I do, right? If I had that much money, I would be trying to help humanity. That's what I would do. So I take, one of these tech billionaires, and I think that that's what they would do. But that's not true. That's not true. Number one, to get to that position, you don't get to that position without being a cutthroat, just completely diabolical, at least in the business world. Now, all of these guys, I've watched, studied a little bit about them, each one of them, and they're completely cutthroat in business. They've destroyed people, they've destroyed businesses, they've created these monopolies, these huge conglomerates, and they didn't do that by playing fair and being nice and looking out for their fellow man. That's not how you get to that position. You have to have a completely different mindset, dog eat dog, cutthroat, screw the next guy, I'm getting to the top no matter what. And most of us, just the general population, we don't have that mindset. Or we'd all be tech billionaires. I watched that movie about Facebook where that guy, he basically stole that idea from these other two guys and just completely cut them out, then cut his partner out, and it's just completely selfish, self-centered, and selfish behavior. You can't, sociopathic, just have no feeling for other people, no sympathy, no empathy for what they're going through, none of that shit. So, and then when you get up to the multi-billion dollar stage and you're dealing with, populations of countries and that kind of thing, they're not all of a sudden going to switch that off and say, oh, now I care about my fellow man, I care about the people, I care about this and that and this. No, they don't care. They're still cutthroat. They have agendas, and they'll do whatever it takes to further that agenda, to accomplish that goal, just like they did before with whatever company they came up through. Nothing's changed. They haven't had a come to God moment and awakened, and now all of a sudden they love humanity. So no, you're not going to have more of anything except work. You're not going to have more free time. You're not going to have more of anything except work, labor. If you're lucky, you might get to work in an office or something, some shit like that. But as far as, everything being nice and green and all this stuff, that's a fairy tale world that people like to believe in. And younger people, especially that don't have kids or anything yet, they'll buy into that shit real easy. It's the main problem on the planet is the population. That's the number one problem. If we could just fix that, fix the population problem. The language that they use when they talk about this stuff, I mean, that's just another way of saying murder. That's it. You can say it in thousands of different ways to soften it, to make it even sound like it's mercy, right? It's better for everyone. It's better for the planet. We need to care about this planet more than we care about the people on it. And just people fall for this stuff. They do. They just fall for it. Maybe some of you have. Maybe some of you have fallen for it. Maybe, you think that the population... But I remember in the 80s when the population was 3 billion or something like that, I remember seeing in a comic book that, somebody was trying to protect, one of the superheroes was trying to protect the entire population of the planet. It was like 3.5 billion. And I remember thinking as a kid, holy crap, that's so many people. How the hell we're going to destroy this planet? It's just going to be a ball of dirt, empty ball of dust by the time I'm grown up. Now we have going on 9 billion or 10 billion or something. I think it's 8 point something billion. More than double what it was back then. And everything's still fine. Everything's still fine. Everybody, we've all got iPhones and Androids and houses, and not everybody has that stuff, but that's not because of lack of resources. It's just because of the way the system is set up against us. It should be set up to where if you want to work hard and you go out there and work hard, then you get the things you want. That's fair in my opinion. If you don't want to work hard and you don't want to go get shit, then don't work hard and don't go get shit. It's that simple. And then with some tightly regulated and monitored social aspects for people who literally physically cannot work hard. That's it. With no cheating that system. You can't just claim that status that, oh, I can't work hard because, I have ADHD or some shit. Because I like my cups in a certain way. I have a complex and I can't get a job, and no. There are jobs out there lining up cups. Just go find one. Whatever. There's a job you can do. But my point is the population is not the problem. They're lying. Just like they lied when they took over the other businesses and created these monopolies. They lied. They were deceiving people. They were creating a monopoly. They were squashing other businesses. They were squashing competition. And they haven't changed. This is not going to turn out good for anyone. Certainly not the half of the population that goes on to the next world, and not for the half of the population that gets to stay here. The only people it's going to turn out well for is the small 0.001% of the elite who don't have to lose any of their families, who don't have to struggle, who don't have to go out and work to build their airplanes and build their yachts and build all this shit for a sack of potatoes every week or whatever the payment, whatever the payment system's going to be at that time. It's probably going to be some kind of digital shit, but still, you're going to go take your few euros or whatever the denomination, whatever the currency is, and you're going to go buy your chemically adjusted potatoes, and you're only going to be allowed to buy so many of them, but you're going to get to dig organic potatoes out of their farms for the elite to eat. Back-breaking work. People think it's going to be some kind of fairy fantasy land when all these kind-hearted, loving elites get their way. And a lot of times I really wish that they could live long enough to see the fruition of their desires, so they could see what they brought upon themselves. That's just my vindictive side coming out. And I don't always hope for that. I'm not saying I always, but just sometimes I get a spike of that. I'd like to see you in a socialistic hellscape and then see how much you love it, whether you're begging for it. So let's give it to you. But yeah, bottom line is, it's this pipe dream they're selling everybody is exactly that. It's a pipe dream. You're not going to get what you think. You're not going to get what they say you're going to get. They are liars. They are thieves. They are murderers. That's just the way it is. And to be gullible enough to fall for this shit is just willful ignorance at this point, because all the information's online. All you have to do is look it up. They say it. It's not, I do not take somebody else's word for it. I don't, listen to Alex Jones say that somebody said this. I do not do that and then go off on a tangent. I listen to that person, what that person says. And then I make my decisions and formulate my ideas. I don't go off of secondhand information. But the firsthand information is out there, and it only takes a couple of minutes. Look that shit up. DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. That's a search engine for those of you who don't know. That's a search engine. A fair search engine that doesn't censor. It doesn't manipulate. It just throws out the most popular stuff. It throws you out the most relevant stuff. Not what the deep state thinks that you need to see. DuckDuckGo. But anyway, that's the one I use. I'll look it up, do my research, watch a video of the person that I'm talking about, in their own words, state their agenda. And their way, there's no confusion. There's no, I listen to exactly what they say. And that stuff is out there for you to listen to. If you don't believe, secondhand information like I don't, then go watch it yourself. And you'll find out just like I did. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll leave that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can hop over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I'll leave that link down in the description too. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can head over to Redbubble and check that stuff out. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. T-shirts, coffee mugs, stuff like that. Pretty cool stuff over there. I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much for those of you who do that. I sincerely appreciate it. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Things, please put those down in the comments. Either that or you can email us, and the email's over on the channel page too. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.